I mentioned that we will be focusing on some hip openers tonight. And the reason I think this is such good timing for that, in addition to just it feeling good, and we've all got some things to work out in our hips, is that we started this 3 weeks series together. The first week was about being intentional, setting intention with your practice, being intentional about your day and your schedule, and finding this new normal. And then last week we worked to open up our hearts. And then this week with our hips, our focus on kind of hip openers is, I think, going to be appropriate for everybody, is on just release, right? So excuse me, the body holds on to stress in ways that we don't always see. Stress, emotions, trauma, all sorts of different things get held up and bound in the body, and we pay a lot of attention to our upper back and our necks and things like that. We always kind of associate that, but our hips can hold on to a lot as well. So in addition to the postures that we'll be going through, kind of think about now as you lay in this reclined position, as you take some nice deep breaths to unwind from your day, just call to mind anything that you'd like to let go of. Whether if it was a stressful day, an argument, some fears that have popped back up, anxiety that is starting to bubble up in some of us. We're all adjusting here. So whatever it is that you would like to kind of offer up and put out there to release, I'm going to call that to mind now. And as you breathe, with each exhale, imagining just a little bit of that letting go and releasing. And so on your back here, draw your knees up into your chest. Hug those knees in. Start to rock side to side. Take your knees wide, kind of toward your shoulders. Start to open up the hips right away, and just rock side to side. And then pausing in the middle here, let's circle out our ankles. So we're still drawing our knees toward our shoulders, but we're starting to circle out the ankles, and then change the direction of those ankle circles. And find some stillness here. You're going to hold on to that right knee and extend that left leg nice and long, and let that left leg rest on the floor. Continue to pull that right knee up toward your shoulder, and kind of play around, see if you want to open that knee up a little bit so that the hip gets a little bit of an opening. And then once again, find some stillness so that you get that nice, gentle hip opener to start out tonight while you relax on your back. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And then changing sides, draw that left knee up into your chest, extend your right leg nice and long, allow that right leg to rest on the mat. And then gently move that left knee out to the side and back in. Also becoming aware, how do your hips feel tonight? Right away, becoming aware of any tension you want to let go of, physical, mental, emotional, and just releasing with each exhale. And then finding some stillness, continuing to draw that left knee toward that left shoulder. 2 more breaths. And let's release that left knee, and you're going to bring both knees bent so that your heels are right underneath your knees. Knees are about hip distance apart, and then take your arms out to the side in a nice wide T. And from here, you're just going to start to drop your knees side to side. So your knees go off to the right, bringing them back to center, and take your knees to the left. Call these windshield wipers. So just windshield wiper the knees right and then left. Just moving through a comfortable range of motion, not forcing anything. Just starting to move, open up the hips nice and gently here. One more time on each side. And the next time your knees are off to the right, you're gonna leave the knees there for 3 breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. So if you haven't already, start to bring some control, some intention to that breathing. That Ujjayi pranayama, our yoga breath, our oceanic breath. Your lips are sealed, your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, and your breath starts to make that sound that you might hear if you put your ear up to a seashell. And then back to center and dropping your knees off to the left, 3 breaths here. And then back to center. Last stretch here on our backs, we're going to come into a reclined pigeon. So taking your right ankle on top of the left knee, and then maybe this is enough of a stretch for you, depending on how your hips feel tonight. Otherwise, you can draw that figure 4 in toward your chest. I like to take my right hand and take it through my legs, and then hold on to my left knee or my left shin. You can find some gentle movement. It kind of deepens the stretch as you rock side to side. And again, these first couple stretches on our back just gonna let us know how our body feels, especially how our hips are doing tonight. One more breath. And then you're gonna change sides. Left ankle on top of that right knee. Maybe your foot stays on the floor, otherwise drawing your knees into your chest. And again, finding a little bit of a gentle rock, side to side. Nice deep breaths. Finding a small release with each exhale. And then drawing your knees into your chest. I can't quite demonstrate this the way I once could, but start to kind of rock and roll on that tight little ball. Start to gain some momentum through your abdominals and roll the length of your spine on that mat, gaining enough momentum so to where you come up to seated, and then you're gonna come into a tabletop position. Right away, that tabletop position, and as soon as you get there, begin a few rounds of cat-cow. So your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are hip distance apart. Inhale, dropping your belly. Exhale, rounding your spine. Inhale, sends the belly down, that heart forward. Exhale, pressing through the hands, pressing through the tops of the feet. That upper back goes toward the sky. 3 more times like that. Inhale and exhale. Nice long exhales, release here. And one more time, inhale and exhale. Finding a nice flat back, you're gonna leave your hands and knees where they are, and you're just gonna shift your hips side to side, kind of wagging your tail right and left. You'll feel that nice gentle stretch or sensation on the outside of your hips as you move right to left. One more time each way. And then the next time those hips are off to the right, start some nice gentle circles. Your knees can stay hip distance apart. I am gonna widen my knees a little bit to make room for my belly. So anytime I do something to accommodate myself, I'm gonna try to let you guys know so you don't feel like you have to be changing anything. Might find myself doing more of that as the weeks progress. And the last one, once you come back to center, start to circle those hips off to the left. Nice inhale to start that circle. Exhale brings you back around. We'll do 3 more here. And then at the top of that circle, find some stillness. Here we're going to extend that right leg, send it straight back, and then we're going to move it up and around. So we draw a nice circle with that right knee. Take the leg back and draw a nice circle. Do 5 circles each way. The leg comes back, out and around. Good. And after that 5th one, we're going to reverse the circle. So we're going to open that knee, take it straight, and back to the beginning. Open up to the side, and then right back to the start. Here's 3, circling out the hip. 2 more. Very nice. And last one, out and around. Good. And then go ahead and relax that right knee back on your mat, and we'll go to the other side. So extend that left leg behind you, and then take that knee out and around, drawing a nice big circle with that left knee. Take it straight back, out and around, twice more. Good, nice deep breaths as you do that. Last one, and then reverse that circle. Take the knee out and around. Out into that straight leg, and back to center. 3 more times. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Good. Set that left knee down, and again, kind of taking the hip side to side. A couple more wags of that tail, and then we'll find our first downward facing dog. So when you're ready, find some stillness, tuck your toes, lift your hips, and find that downward facing dog. As always, any movements that you need to begin your downward facing dog, pedaling out the feet is always a place I like to start. So straightening that right leg, pressing the right heel toward the mat, bending the left knee, and then switching sides, straightening my left leg, bending my right knee. A couple more times so that range of motion, pedaling out the feet. And then find some stillness in your downward facing dog. Just kind of settle in, take nice long deep breaths. 3 of them here. And as you exhale, start to walk your hands toward the back of your mat. Walk your hands toward the back of your mat and hang out in that ragdoll pose. Again, feet can stay hip distance. I'm going to widen mine just a bit here. So you can widen your stance to allow for a little more room for your torso. You can also bend your knees and then take opposite elbows. Let your head hang nice and long, relaxing through the neck and shoulders. Gently sway side to side. 2 more breaths. With your next exhale, release your hands. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. And then as you come up, just start to roll out those shoulders, bringing your chin parallel with your mat. Inhale and exhale. 1 more time. With your next breath in, taking your hands up above your head. Exhale, taking your right arm down, left arm up and over your ear. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left arm down, right arm up and over your ear. We'll do that twice more, moving through your range of motion. Inhale up, exhale, left arm up and over. Inhale up, exhale, right arm comes up and over. Good, last one. Inhale here, exhale, left arm up and over. Hold for 3 breaths. With each inhale, try to grow a little taller through the left side body, and as you exhale, reaching a little bit further. That's it. Staying for 1 more. Press those hips slightly forward so that you're staying nice and tall, like you're between 2 panes of glass. Inhale, taking the right arm up. Exhale, left arm down, right arm over. Staying for 3 breaths. Inhale, growing nice and tall. Stacking those shoulders. Try not to round forward through the right shoulder and elbow. And then 1 more breath here. Exhale, reach. Inhale, that left arm up to meet the right. Exhale, take those hands nice and wide, forward fold, coming all the way down to your mat. Inhale, lifting halfway, flat back, hands on the knees or staying on your mat. Exhale, release your hands, start to walk your hands all the way out towards your plank. Holding here, option 2, drop to the knees or straight from that plank, Vinyasa. Exhale, Chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Option 2, anytime I call out that Vinyasa, option 2, skip that Chaturanga or that push up and go right back to downward facing dog. Left leg is going to stay on the mat. Inhale, take that right leg up, bend your knees, stack your hips, roll open on the right side. So your shoulders are square, your hips are open. Start to roll that right ankle around, just opening up the right hip, circling out the right ankle.
One more inhale. As you exhale, release that right leg down, changing sides. Right leg stays. Inhale, left leg up. Bend your knees, stack your hips, rolling open. Shoulders stay square. Both hands pressing through the mat. And then rolling out that left ankle. Nice. Last inhale. As you exhale, straighten the left leg and release it back down to your mat. Inhale here, exhale, bend your knees, hop or step forward, top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway, exhale, fold. Inhale, taking your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart, closing those eyes. Let's bring our feet all the way together. Big toes are touching, knees are touching. And take just a few deep breaths here. Again, coming back to whatever it was that we brought to mind at the beginning of our practice. What are we looking to release? And we bring that back to our mind so that we remember. We remember to breathe things out. We remember to release. Setting the intention with our mind, with our breath, it physically helps to transform us. And when you're ready, we're going to come into our chair pose. So opening up those eyes if they were closed. Inhale, sending your hips back. Bending those knees, arms are out in front, and then tuck your tailbone slightly. So tuck your tailbone slightly, engage the abdominals. Nice, holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to the plank. Either right back to downward facing dog or through that chaturanga, however you'd like to. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, either rolling over the toes or following my lead, kind of pressing back from the knees, and then back to your downward facing dog. Holding here for 3 breaths. From here, we're going to take an inhale, take that right leg up. Exhale, bring that right foot all the way forward to the top of your mat, and you're going to drop that left knee down. Drop the left knee down. Both hands are on the inside of that right foot. So you'll have your right shoulder on the inside of the right knee. And then from here, you can either stay in this nice hip opener with your arms straight, or if you'd like, you can come down even further onto elbows. Another option is to place a block right underneath your hands. I would probably be adding a block, but they're out of reach for now, so I'll have to grab them in just a moment. So taking another 3 breaths here, opening up the hips. If you'd like, you can also roll onto the outside edge of the right foot. So this kind of just gives your hips an opening in a different way. For me, this actually makes the stretch easier to open up the hip. So I tend to kind of, if I can, if I'm working to open the hips, I want to stay with my hips square. That challenges my hips just a little bit more. But it will depend on, where you're tight, where you need some opening tonight. One more inhale, and as you exhale, rolling back, sending the hips back, straightening that forward right leg. And again, good time for some blocks, maybe having blocks right beneath your hands here, or any other sort of furniture. If you've got a couch or a chair, anything really works. You don't necessarily need to have yoga props. They do help, but you can find plenty of things to help you out here. And let's bend that right knee on an inhale and take our arms up. Looking up in between your fingers, inhale, and exhale. Send the hips forward, send the heart forward. One more breath. And as you exhale, release your hands around that forward right leg. You're going to step your right foot back to meet the left, and either right back to downward facing dog or through that vinyasa, upward facing dog, and then rolling back, downward facing dog. Nice 3 breaths here. And we're going to do that same thing on the left side, taking that left foot forward when you're ready. Inhale that left leg up, exhale. Left foot in between your hands, that right knee drops. And then let the hips relax, kind of coming down and forward. And you might discover that one side is a little bit more open than the other. So feel free to use a prop that maybe you didn't need on the other side. That's okay. And then same thing if you want to roll that knee open, kind of coming to the outside edge of that left foot. That's up to you. You can come down onto your elbows, whatever is going to feel good for you tonight, whatever is going to help you release some tension in those hips. Take about 3 more breaths here. One more nice inhale, and as you exhale, shifting the hips, rolling back, straightening that forward left leg. And over that forward left leg, if you can, see if you can keep your hips square, your shoulders square, and your back as flat as possible. So as you come deeper, your back's going to round a little bit, but what coming from a flat back does, and leading with your heart will do, is it will just keep the stretch where it's meant to be in that hip, right? So, or excuse me, in that left leg. So instead of rounding and putting tension there, just see if you can keep that back flat, and maybe you need to back out of the posture a little bit. That is okay. That is okay. With your next inhale, bending through the left knee, taking those arms up above your head, gaze is up in between the fingertips. Inhale, as you exhale, hips sink forward slightly, heart comes forward. Nice, and then release those hands around the forward left leg. Step that left foot back to meet the right, either right back to downward facing dog or through your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog, tops of the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees and hop or step up to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, taking your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, so we're gonna go into a balance posture a little bit early, and I'm gonna turn and face you guys. You can stay facing the same direction you are, but at the top of your mat, hands are at your heart, and you're gonna shift into that right foot, and you're gonna raise that left knee up 90 degrees. Take that left foot on the outside of the right knee, and then you're gonna sink your hips back and down. Yes, and from here you can either stay in this balance pose and challenge your balance, or you can forward fold over that figure 4, reaching for the ground, for the chair, for a block, and get a little bit deeper into that left hip. No matter what you choose, you're definitely feeling the hips, you're definitely challenging your balance. Let's stay here for 1 or 2 more breaths. And then pressing through that right leg, coming up, and then releasing that left leg, and shake the legs out, shake the hands out. Taking a breath in between sides. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So shifting your weight now into your left leg. Inhale, taking that right leg up 90 degrees, taking that right ankle on the left knee. Hands at your heart or out to the side, sinking back into your hips, and then whatever you chose to do on that other side, either challenging your balance or forward fold to deepen that stretch in your hips. Good. Maybe a mix, a little bit of both. We'll take 2 or 3 more breaths. Nice job, guys. Way to balance it out. Good. And when you're ready, straighten through that right leg, unwind the knee, legs come down, and then shake everything out. Good. All right, coming to the top of your mat. Actually, I think that's where everybody is. I'm going to take this opportunity to grab my blocks rather than having them so far away. All right, top of your mat. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, from here, you're going to leave your right foot forward. Take your left foot back. You're coming into your first warrior 2. So in your warrior 2, your hips are open, shoulders are open. Your right knee is right over that right ankle. So the biggest thing here
is not necessarily how deep you are in that lunge, but making sure that that forward knee is pointing over those toes. So we'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Gaze is out over those right fingertips. With your exhale, you're going to take your left hand, reach all the way around, come onto those back toes. So now you're in a deep runner's lunge. You're going to twist with that right hand. With your exhale, release that back left knee, and you're going to reach your right hand around to your left hip, reach your left hand up and back. Very nice. Left hand comes down. You might discover you want a block under that left hand. Left hand comes down. You're back in that twisted lunge. Right hand is up. With your next exhale, drop your back heel. Release your right hand inside of your right foot. Knee is still bent. You're going to open up your left hand. Nice. And hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Release that left hand. Spin the right toes in, wide leg forward bend. So your hands are on the floor. You can take your block with you, whatever feels good here. One of my favorite poses, this wide leg forward bend. Nice. And we'll hold here for another 2 breaths. And then start to walk your hands back around that forward right foot, and you're going to step your left foot forward to meet the right and switch those legs out. So now the left leg is forward, right foot is back. I'm going to go ahead and switch positions on my mat. You guys go ahead and stay where you are, but left foot is forward, right foot is back. Warrior 2. Hips are open, shoulders are open. Warrior 2 for 3 breaths. Last one. As you exhale, that right hand comes up and around onto those back right toes. Deep lunge twist, so that left arm is up. Good. Holding here, drawing that left knee in toward the body as much as you can. With your exhale, release that right knee down toward the ground, and then take that right arm up and back. Left hand reaches for the right hip. Nice. Send the hips forward, open up through the front side of the body, especially on the right. One more inhale. And as you exhale, coming right back down, right hand on the inside of the left foot, back knee comes off the mat, left arm is up, reaching for 3, 2, 1. Left hand comes down inside of the right foot, left hand comes down inside of the left foot. Right arm opens up. Nice job. Nice deep breaths, shoulders are stacked. For 3, 2, and 1. Right hand releases, spin those left toes in toward the right, wide leg forward bend once again. Maybe a different variation than you chose last time. You can take your hands as wide as your feet, or take your hands to your calves or thighs, whatever this posture allows for you today. One more breath in and out. And then start to walk your hands around toward that left foot. And you're going to step your left foot back to meet the right. This time, coming down into child's pose. But before we come down, a little rest for us. We're going to take that left hand underneath the right and lay that left ear down on the mat. Right hand is going to reach toward the top of your mat. I love these twisting variations in our child's pose whenever we can throw them in. And the wider you take your knees, the deeper the stretch and sensation in your hips is going to be. So if you ever find it uncomfortable, play around with bringing your knees closer together. It also will stretch out your lower back a little bit more with your knees closer together. Great, and then when you're ready, pressing out and changing sides, taking that right hand underneath the left arm, lay the right ear down, And that left hand reaches toward the top of your mat. Two more breaths. And releasing from that twist. Coming back to that tabletop, and before we find our downward facing dog, let's move through a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Nice, twice more. Inhale. Deep breath in, exhale, round through the spine, press through the feet and the hands. One more time, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, tuck your toes. Lift your hips, find that downward facing dog. Inhale, high on the toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk or step up to the top of your mat. Inhale here, exhale, round up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Changing sides once again, just so that we can start again the same as we did before. We're going to go through that same warrior two sequence. Give you guys another opportunity. So if you need blocks or you need a prop that's going to help you out with those twists, grab that now. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to inhale, take our arms up. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release, keep that right foot forward, send the left foot back, open up. Nice and long, warrior two. 3 breaths. In that warrior two, take a peek at that right knee as your right knee pointed over your toes. For 3, 2, 1, that left hand comes up and around. Come onto those back left toes, twisting to the right. Good. With your next exhale, release that back knee. Left arm reaches up and back, right hand reaches around for the left hip. Inhale here. As you exhale, left hand comes back on the inside of the right foot, back to that deep lunge twist. One more inhale. As you exhale, right hand comes down on the inside of the right foot, drop the back heel, open up that left arm. Nice and deep on that right hip, holding for 3, 2, 1. Releasing the hands, spinning the right toes, wide leg forward bend. This time, we're going to leave our right hand on the floor, right underneath our face. So maybe a block is there, and then you're going to open up, twist that left arm to the sky. One more inhale. As you exhale, release. Left hand stays down, right arm's going to twist. One more inhale. As you exhale, release the hands. Start to walk your hands around that right foot. Bring your left foot forward to meet the right, and you're going to switch sides. So taking that right foot back, open up into your warrior two. Okay, same thing on this opposite side, holding our warrior two for a couple more breaths. Challenging those legs, maybe a little bit as long as that left knee stays tracking over the left toes. Inhale here, exhale, take that right hand down inside of the left foot, come back onto those right toes and twist toward that forward left knee. Inhale, as you exhale, release that right knee down, right arm reaches up and back, left hand comes around for the right hip. Holding through one more nice, deep, long breath. Next exhale, right hand comes down on the inside of the left foot, back into that deep lunge twist, left hand reaches toward the sky. Reach nice and high for one more inhale. Exhale, left hand down on the inside of the left foot. Drop the right heel so that you open up that right arm. Nice and deep through that left side. Remember, if a block is helpful, go ahead and bring that underneath your left hand. One more breath. As you exhale, release the hands, straighten both legs. Wide leg forward bend. Again, another variation on this wide leg forward bend. Take both hands off to the left. Both hands off to the left here. One more inhale and exhale. With your next breath in, moving toward the center, exhale, reaching off to the right. One more inhale and exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, start to walk your hands around that forward left foot. Step that right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time, getting a nice stretch along the spine. Inhale, taking your arms up. Exhale, release your hands behind you. We're going to do a bound forward bend here. So if you need a strap, if you need a towel, a sock, whatever it is that you use to bind your hands, or maybe it's just your fists, whatever you need, do that now. Inhale, pulling your fists away, opening up through the chest and shoulders. Send those hips forward, just staying nice and tall before we forward fold. One more breath in. As you exhale, forward fold, sending those fists up and over your head. Three more breaths. As you inhale, pull those fists up. As you exhale, guide them away from the body. Inhale and exhale. One more time here. And then release your hands toward the floor, coming into our goddess squat, our nice deep squat here. So you might want to grab a pillow or a block. Exhale, you're going to bring your hips down toward your heels. Hips down toward your heels. You might want to block right underneath your seat. Whenever you're comfortable-ish, or as comfortable as you're going to get here, make sure, if you can, that your hips are propped up enough so that you can keep your spine nice and tall. And once you get there, let's take our elbows into our knees, just slightly pressing the hips open and our thumbs right to our heart center. Close your eyes. And take 3 deep breaths here, bringing back that intention of whatever it is we need to release tonight, bringing that back and releasing that tension, that emotion, that stress, whatever it is that we want to see just melt away and release here. Your next exhale, release your hands to the mat. You know we're going to come in and out of this a couple of times, so send your hips toward the sky. Release, maybe pedal out the knees and the feet. Allow some blood flow back into the hips. One more breath in, and as you exhale, take those hips back down. Inhale, exhale, hips come up. One more breath in. Exhale, hips come down. Last one. Inhale here. Exhale, hips come up to the sky. Big breath in at the bottom. Exhale, roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. And for our final balance pose, we're going to come into the front side of the hip. So we're going to work on our dancer pose tonight. So what you're going to do here is you are going to shift your weight into your right foot. You're going to open up that left arm and grab that outside or the front side of your left foot. And first, just kind of sink into the pose. So send your hips forward just slightly so that you get a stretch along the front side of that left hip. And then you're going to take that right arm up to the sky. Inhale here, exhale from the hips, kicking your foot into your hand and reaching forward. 3 to 5 breaths. Remember, with balance, don't worry about coming in or out when I say so. Feel good and strong about that balance posture. And then when you're ready, come out of that pose, shake the legs out, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Admittedly, I kind of fell out of that one just a little bit, just in case you guys saw that. So coming over to the left foot now, you're going to open up the right arm, take that right foot into your hand, and then sink the hips forward. Sink the hips, allow a nice stretch, opening on the right side of that hip flexor. Left arm comes up, bend that standing leg slightly. So instead of our tendency to lock out the joint, bend the knee slightly and then start to kick that right foot into the right hand from the hips, hinging forward. It's a heart opening pose too. So keep that heart up. Nice, 3 to 5 breaths, whatever keeps you feeling strong. And then when you're ready, coming out, releasing, shaking everything out, and returning to the top of our mat, getting ready for our last vinyasa, getting ready for our pigeon pose. So we're going to stay in pigeon a little bit longer tonight just to honor that hip opening posture. So if you already know that full pigeon is not your favorite place to be, feel free to take that on your back and I'll demonstrate that for you. Inhale when you're ready, arms up. Exhale, release, forward fold. Last vinyasa. Inhale, halfway flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back, either right back to downward facing dog or exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. Now, before we come into pigeon, left foot stays. Inhale that right leg up, bend your knees, stack your hips, roll open on the right side again. So we're working the front and back side of our hips to open and release. One more inhale. And as you exhale, slide that right leg into your pigeon. So right knee to right wrist, right ankle, left wrist. And what you're trying to do, the more you come into pigeon, if you've already got this posture, go ahead, settle in. But you're trying to bring that right shin parallel with the top of your mat. So you're trying to keep that hip open enough, but if that sends you into the right hip and doesn't allow you to keep your hip square, then you bring that ankle a little closer to your body. So not only do you want your forward shin parallel with the top of your mat or as open as possible, you really want these hips to be square as well and sinking down. So one thing you can do is to bring the block and place it underneath the hip of the bent knee. That sometimes props you up enough to get you comfortable. Otherwise, settle into that pigeon pose and I'll let you guys kind of relax and rest here. Although some people might be like, no, keep talking and distracting me from this pose. I don't know, we all like something a little different. So we'll be here for about 1 more minute. If it ever gets uncomfortable, please feel free to come out and you can take your pigeon pose on your back, kind of how we did in the beginning of class. Right ankle, left knee, hug your knees into your chest. Don't worry, I won't forget about you guys here. I've got a timer. Won't leave you here forever. We've got about 30 more seconds. With each exhale, working to release any muscles where you feel some tension. Tension in our pigeon pose doesn't just show up in our hips, it shows up in our face, in our neck and shoulders, our upper back especially. So with each exhale, becoming just a little bit heavier on your mat. And take 2 more breaths. Start to press out of your pigeon, so straighten your arms. A little heart opener here. And then you're going to slide that right foot out. So we're going to open up that right foot again. Now this is for people who feel like flipping their dog and kind of coming into our wild thing. If you are newer to yoga with us and do not or haven't tried this before or don't want to do this, totally fine. But if you'd like, your hips feel good, back feels good, take your right foot coming off your mat, pressing through a straight left leg, hips come up to the sky, right arm reaches up and back. Okay, holding here for another breath or 2. Inhale. As you exhale, send everything back over. and then we'll come into pigeon on the other side. Just kind of felt inspired to flip over like that, felt pretty good, but don't worry if that was not for you tonight. Right leg is straight, left leg comes up, bend your knees, stack your hips, roll open on the left. You're gonna start to circle out that right ankle, opening up the front side of the left hip, inhale. As you exhale, bringing left knee to left wrist, left ankle to right wrist. And again, I'll kind of show the props for those of you using them. Otherwise, go ahead and come into your pigeon pose. But if pigeon is something you struggle with, if there's pain in your knee, pain in your hips, a block right beneath that left hip can really give you just that little bit of support you need to give you a nice stretch, but take you out of the pain. And then you might find that you're able to square your hips and come down into that pigeon pose a little bit easier, right? So settle in however you'd like. And if one side feels more comfortable than the other, that's okay too. So if you feel like, well, for the left side, I'd really like to be on my back, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Some of us have knee or hip things going on more on one side than the other. Just honor where you are tonight. About another 30 seconds. And with each exhale, releasing any muscular tension, anything holding you or binding you up in the upper back and shoulders. Use that exhale. And take 2 more breaths. Pressing out of your pigeon, taking your time, getting a nice heart opener, nice hip opener for the right side now, and then sliding that left foot out. You're going to take that right leg up and open. If you did so on the opposite side, and make sure you have room, by the way, next to your mat, I should have said that before, you're going to flip, let that left hand go, left leg comes down, straighten through the right leg, press the hips up toward the sky. Nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, release, come back to center. Enjoy another 1 or 2 breaths in your downward facing dog. And then take your knees to the mat, hips back to child's pose, forehead. Rest on your mat. And let's reach both hands off to the right, keeping your hips where they are, stretching through the left side of the body. And then reaching off to the left. Back to center, walk yourself up. Then you're going to come into our seated butterfly. Seems like we always start to end our practice in this seated butterfly, or at least the last 3 weeks together anyway. So sitting up nice and tall, I think I shared last week one of my favorite ways to prop myself in this pose is to put a block right on my feet and then put my forehead down on my feet. Now, you can use a couple of blocks to do that. I have some folks that I work with and I've worked with in the past that we stack 3 blocks one on top of the other. So do what you need to do with your props, right? Just whatever it is that brings the earth a little closer, makes things a little more comfortable. Also, you might find you want the prop underneath your knees on the outsides of your hips. So whatever feels good to you. We're going to take 2 more breaths in our seated butterfly. Drawing our attention to the hip area. And using each exhale, release. So from here, we're going to sit up. We're going to extend our right leg out in front. Left foot is going to come in to the inside of the right leg. And from here, a little variation on our forward folds. We're going to take the right hand, grab onto the left leg, take the left hand and reach forward and down. So you can have it on a block, you can reach forward. If you can grab that forward leg, whatever it is. We're just kind of reaching as we draw that hip up and open on the opposite side. And come up nice and tall. Now you're going to take that left foot, cross it up and over the right side. And you're going to draw it into your chest. You're going to wrap that right arm around the knee and hold. Take that left hand up to the sky and behind you. A little twist here. Option to hold on to the knee, which I'm going to do because my belly wants to just press it out to the side. But option to hold here, or you can take that right elbow to the outside of the knee and twist from here. So whatever is more comfortable to you. Apologize for my lack of full demo tonight. One more inhale and exhale in this twist. And then we'll release that left leg nice and long. Draw the right knee up into the chest. This time we're going to take our left hand, grab onto the outside of the right shin. Right hand comes up, right hand reaches forward, and it can either be on the floor, you can reach for that extended left leg, whatever is comfortable to you here. Nice and long through the neck, letting the chin drop toward your chest. Releasing here, coming up tall, cross the right leg up and over the left leg, draw it in, wrap your left arm around the right knee, pull it in, take that right hand up and behind you, engage that twist, and then whatever you did on the opposite side, maybe you take that left elbow to the outside of the right knee to help you twist a little more deeply. Maybe you just hug that right knee in as you twist. One more inhale and exhale as you twist. And then with that inhale, release. Both legs are nice and long. We're going to take one more forward fold here. So feet can be all the way together. They can be slightly apart. I'm going to take mine a little bit wider. Wherever you are, take your hands and remove the flesh from beneath your sit bones. So you're literally pulling the muscle, the flesh away so that you're rooted in your seat, down on your mat. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, forward fold, reaching. Hands can be on the floor, on your shins, blocks, outside edges of your feet, and then using your elbows or bending at the elbows to use your biceps, pull you just a little bit more deeply into that forward fold. 3 breaths here. Inhale, coming up, and then exhale, making your way down onto your back. Just the way we started class. Find your way onto your back, and once you get there, draw your knees into your chest. And as you draw your knees into your chest, separate your feet slightly, and separate your knees, excuse me. So separate the knees and the feet, and draw your knees up into opposite shoulders. And then send your heels toward the sky. So option here, stay where you are. Second option is you grab the outside edges of your, or outsides of your shins, full happy baby outside edges of the feet with the hands, and then you're drawing your knees toward the mat as you press your feet up toward the sky. So there's this push-pull sensation with the hands. In this happy baby, see if you can make your tailbone nice and heavy. See if you can relax through the upper back and shoulders. 2 more breaths. And releasing that happy baby, you're going to set your feet down on the mat, open up your arms into that T position. So we've been here before tonight. And then you're gonna do those windshield wipers. So send your knees to the right, send your knees to the left, side to side a couple more times. The next time those knees are off to the right, leave them there. Option to take your right foot and rest it on top of the left knee. So what that does, you're placing your right ankle on top of the left knee, it's going to deepen the stretch on the left hip. May or may not feel good. If it doesn't, if there's pulling that is a painful sensation, remove that ankle. Remove that ankle and just allow those knees to rest. 2 more breaths. Release that right ankle from the left knee if it's there. Send both knees off to the left. Maybe the left ankle comes to the top of the right knee. 3 breaths here. Remove that left ankle from the right knee if it's there. Draw your knees back into your chest one more time, preparing for your Shavasana. Hug those knees in. Roll yourself into a nice ball. So wrap your arms around your shins. Draw your chin towards your knees. 1 deep breath in and out. Twice more like that. Inhale and exhale. With your next inhale, draw everything in. Squeeze your knees nice and tight. And with your exhale, release everything out nice and long. Shavasana. Take a few more breaths in and out through the nose and mouth. So you exhale through the mouth. Become nice and heavy on your mat. Enjoy a couple of minutes in your Shavasana to release, to receive, and to rest. With your next inhale, take your arms up above your head, point and flex your feet, roll out your wrists and your ankles. Nice big full body stretch, deep inhales and exhales through the nose and mouth. Nice deep breaths. And then when you're ready, rolling onto your right or your left side. And just taking a moment there to rest. And before pressing yourself up to seated position. As we wrap up our practice together, hands either down or open on your knees, chin bowed to your chest, eyes closed. I want you to take a moment right now just to thank yourself for showing up today. Just offering yourself some thanks and gratitude. It goes such a long way to say thank you to someone else, and when someone else thanks us for something, let's thank ourselves for showing up, being here, for offering something up to be released, and perhaps what you were asking to have be released was simply some of the expectations you've been placing on yourself. Just honoring yourself for being, for doing your best. Even though our best fluctuates from day to day, that is okay. One or two more deep breaths together. Once again, thank you all for being here, for showing up, for practicing with me. I will see everyone next week. Namaste.